Hello and welcome to the Sportbook Trail blog. At the moment it's rather a nice morning, but the forecast is not very encouraging, so not quite sure how this is going to go, but it's really nice to be back out on the trail talking to you because I haven't done one of these for a very long time. So today I'm on a recovery walk. And if you're not sure what a recovery walk is, it's basically one of the walks you do when you're not on a training session. And it's actually quite a good thing to build short recovery walks into your schedule on the days when you're not training, because this is going to keep your legs supple, it's going to keep everything moving nicely. And your legs can take an awful lot of work. The key thing is that you're not stressing them every day. You're not pushing hard every day. And this is where recovery walks can be really useful, because it allows you to take a really nice walk and you're not training, but you're still doing good work for your body because you're keeping your legs in good shape. But I think the best thing about a recovery walk is it's just like a normal walk. So on my recovery walks, I always try and go somewhere different, somewhere beautiful, somewhere that feeds me in a different way to the trails when I'm training. And that means particularly looking out for lovely locations. And today I'm taking a walk from Beaulieu, which is 5 minutes from where I live, down to Buckless Hard in the New Forest. And if you've ever been here, you'll know that that's on the Beaulieu River, which is a tidal river. And Buckless Hard is where Henry VIII used to build these warships. So it's a very historic place and a bit of a museum. And although it's quite small, it's quite an interesting visitor attraction. So it's one of the places people head to when they're here in the forest. But for me, it's an opportunity to walk along the Beaulieu River, and there are sections of this trail that take you right down close to the river, and that's the best bit. That's the bit that I find really recuperating, shall we say. So just to give you some more guidance on recovery walks, so my training pace is normally 7 minutes 45 to 8:15, somewhere in that region generally when I'm training. Today I'm walking around 9 minutes 15 per kilometre. And that drop in pace is really important because I'm not training my body now, I'm not testing it, I'm not stressing it, but I am keeping it in good condition. I'm allowing it to recover, but it's active recovery, and that's something you want to adopt as you start your sport walking journey, is to adopt the process, the principle of active recovery. It's something you do when you're on a climb, when you're walking hard. The principle of active recovery is that you recover while you move. So once you get to the top of the hill, you're not working as hard anymore. You're not having to expend as much energy to get up the climb as you did before. So you just stay at a steady pace and you allow your body to recover while you move. And that's exactly the same, basically, as a recovery walk. Anyway, this is where the excitement starts to build, because I'm coming down to the river. Although, I must confess, I have inadvertently timed this walk for low tide. So, it's not as beautiful as it would be if it was high tide, but I think it's still pretty special. Grab a look at this. What I'm seeing on screen doesn't look especially appealing. But this is one of the most beautiful rivers I've ever seen. As I say, it's tidal. On the opposite bank, as you can probably guess from the yachts moored up, you have a lot of very, 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 very expensive houses. Let me see if I can just step down, get a little bit closer. Yeah, no, the light isn't really helping me, but anyway, you get the picture. This, my friends, is the Beaulieu River. And we say it's called the Beaulieu River because it's beautiful. Ha 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 ha. The other thing is we're on a boardwalk, and everyone loves a boardwalk. Half the time they're rotten, but hey, everyone loves a boardwalk. I love a boardwalk. Do you love a boardwalk? Answers on a postcard. I have actually got a funny story from training on this trail. I was down here trail running actually once, and on the old trail, which has now been closed off because this is a site of special scientific interest and there's lots of endangered species and everything around here, so keeping our big fat human feet out of the woods is not a bad idea. So it's now a very short set stretch of trail, but it's still nice. But I was trail running and there was a bridge, and I encountered a family out for a walk at the bridge, and they very kindly stepped aside to let me cross the bridge, and I thanked them and carried on running across the bridge. And kind of there was a step off the bridge, and I kind of did, you know, like a runner's leap off the end of the bridge, caught my foot on a tree stump and fell flat on my face right in front of them. They were very good about it, very concerned, but it was my pride that was dented. Anyway, moving on. This stretch of trail, it's lovely in the woods, but it's long and it's straight, so it's really good that we can dip down to the river, which there's another bit coming up. So and just here, previously there was a bridge, and it's just over there where I humiliated myself. Don't want you to think that I'm hung up about it or anything. Oh, something's taped off. Is it a bit of the boardwalk that's failed? Oh no, looks like it's been repaired. No, it hasn't been repaired. There's a couple of planks that are not quite right. That's a shame. Anyway, river habitat. Oh no, it is very... I'll show you. Yeah, I can see why they have... I can see why they've blocked it off. Anyway, river habitat. You got little egret, got a heron, and I haven't got my reading glasses on, so I can't see what that brown one is, but it's a duck or a goose of some kind. Anyway, maybe that gives you a slightly better idea about the river. Isn't that beautiful? If you can see it, it looks very dark on my screen. I don't know. I think I might hold off a little bit until we get to Buckler's Hard. Show you more there, because it really is beautiful. But for the time being, more boardwalk. don't know about you, but I love trails like this. For me, woodland trails are the best. I don't know, although that's like saying which of your children do you love the most, isn't it, really? I don't know. I love woodland trails because they're so immersive, and usually the trails are single track and they weave through the trees. I just absolutely adore that. Having said that, there is nothing quite like being on top of a big wide open hill or a mountain top. So yeah, don't ever force me to decide which is my favourite, but I do love woodland trails. Now I think we may just have a vantage point where I can actually show you at this stage on the river how beautiful it is by the looks of things. Ta-da! Well, I'll tell you what, it may be on low tide, but the conditions down here are to die for. And the forecast, to be brutally honest with you, was awful for this morning. I was questioning the wisdom of trying to shoot a trail blog on a day like today, but it's just like, well, I need to do a recovery walk, and if I'm honest, it's a lot easier for me to talk to you while I'm doing a recovery walk than it is when I'm training, because when I'm training I'm working a lot harder. So yeah, we have been blessed with fine weather conditions, thankfully, well, on the way out at least. I'm not really bothering with speed gating on this particular walk because, well, it's a recovery walk. So we're now coming up to the marina at Bucklershard, which, unless you like yachts, is, well, it's just a boatyard full of yachts, really. So I think I'm going to press on, and I'll see you when we actually get to Bucklershard. So here we are at Bucklershard. It's incredibly quiet, but it's a really interesting place. So the houses you can see up there, well, they were all the shipbuilders' houses, because this basically was a shipbuilding factory. There's a little sign here that gives you a bit more detail on what used to go on and some of the ships that were in production and that sort of thing. But just when you look around, it's full of history, and you actually look from here up to the houses, and it does look like literally nothing has changed since Henry VIII's time, and yet when you cast your eye out to the river, you have all these beautiful yachts. There's not a lot of sort of super cruisers, you know, like millionaires' yachts. These are all boats owned by really keen sailors, because this stretch of water leads straight down to the Solent, which is one of the hottest sailing locations, certainly this part of the United Kingdom, if not around. It's home to Cows Week and all of these big events. So the Beaulieu River, I can think of few no, that's wrong. I can't think of any nicer location to park your boat up than here. So what else can I tell you about Bucklershard? Well, not much else without veering into territory of which I know nothing about. So I'm just going to leave it at the aesthetic and what I know from having visited this place well, ever since I was a child, we used to come here when I was a child, and we used to take, there's a boat over there by the finger, somewhere around there, and that goes on trips down the river. But when we used to come, you could actually go straight across the Isle of Wight. So you did do boat trips to the Isle of Wight out to Cowes from here. So anyway, hasn't got a lot to do with sport walking, this location, but when you go sport walking, or when you're on a training walk or a recovery walk like I am today, and you can build in these places of interest, it's what it's all about, really, you know, because it adds value to what you do purely with your feet, and I think that is a really important factor. So whether it's including a particular hilltop that's got a stunning view, or climbing a mountain, or going on a particularly stunning trail, whatever it is, building value into your walks, really good. So it's only taken us about 3 kilometers to get here from Beaulieu, so it's only going to be about a 6k walk, but for a recovery walk that's perfect. So my work, I think, for the tourism industry is done here. All I'm going to end with is to say, if you find yourself in the New Forest, do come on this walk. Walk the Solent Way from Beaulieu to Bucklershard. It's really nice. Anyway, the weather is beginning to turn, so I think we should head back, because I did notice you didn't bring your rain jacket with you. So I'm going to get us back to the car before the forecast rain arrives. Well, there's not a lot to see on the way back that you haven't already seen on the way out, because this is an out and back walk. So I think I'm going to say goodbye here. I'm just going to carry on back to the car and go back and have some breakfast. But importantly, don't forget your recovery walks. They're just as valuable as your training walks. And the good thing with recovery walks, it's an opportunity for you to just go out and enjoy yourself, but also to check out some new places. Right, I'm going to head back to Beaulieu. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel, and now of course we have Sport Walk Squad, which is live. That's our membership package, and that's where you get our courses, you get a monthly newsletter, a special unique exclusive video message from me each month, plus loads of other things, and a community space and everything. So if you've been enjoying our YouTube videos and want to get more out of your sport walking, give the Sport Walk Squad a look. You can find it on our website, and hopefully we'll see you in there sometime soon. But if not, enjoy your sport walking. I'm going to see you back out for another trail blog very soon.